In this session, let's revise the chapter combustion and flame. First, we have learnt about what is combustion. Combustion is a chemical process in which a substance reacts with oxygen and produces heat and light in this process. And combustible substances are those substances that undergo combustion. And these substances, they give off heat and sometimes light. Light will be in the form of flame or glow when they react with oxygen. Non-combustible substances are those substances that do not undergo combustion or burn. Then we have learnt about what are the conditions necessary for the combustion to take place. The conditions are combustion requires fuel, combustion requires heat, and combustion requires air, that is nothing but oxygen. Then we have learnt about matchbox, matchstick, how it is being produced. The head of the matchstick, it contains antimony trisulfide and potassium chlorate. The rubbing surface, that is matchbox, both sides they have rubbing surface where we strike the matchstick, isn't it? The rubbing surface has powdered glass and little red phosphorus. Why? Because red phosphorus is very less dangerous compared with white phosphorus. Then how it works, when the matchstick is strike against the rubbing surface, red phosphorus get converted into white phosphorus. This immediately reacts with potassium chlorate, which is present in the head of the matchstick, to produce enough heat to ignite, that is to light, to ignite antimony trisulfide, and thus it starts burning, that is, and start the combustion. Then different substances catch fire at different temperature. The lowest temperature at which the substance catches fire is called ignition temperature. So what is ignition temperature? The lowest temperature at which the substance catches fire is called ignition temperature. All combustible substances cannot catch fire or burn immediately. Unless until when do they catch fire? They catch fire or burn as long as its temperature should be lower than its ignition temperature. The substance or the substances which have very low ignition temperature and can easily catch fire with a flame are called inflammable substances. Examples of inflammable substances: petrol, alcohol, LPG, liquefied petroleum gas. So what are inflammable substances? Substances which have very low ignition temperature so that they easily catch fire with flame are called inflammable substances. Then we have learnt about how do we control fire. When we can control fire by one or more of the following reasons, like removal of fuel, cutting of the air supply, that is cutting of oxygen supply, cutting of heat, or lowering the temperature of the fuel. So any one reason or more than one reason if you follow, then we can control fire. Then we have learnt about how do fire extinguishers work. Fire extinguishers are devices used to put off fire. They either cut off the air supply to the fire or cool off the fuel, because these two reasons are very important to control fire, isn't it? So how do fire extinguishers work? They either cut off the air supply or they bring down the temperature of the fuel. That is nothing but they cool off the fuel below the ignition temperature. Thus, it controls fire. When should we use or when should we not use water to extinguish fire? First, when should we use fire? When wood, paper and clothes are on fire, we can use water to extinguish them. What happens when water is poured water? First, it lowers the temperature of the burning material below ignition temperature and thus it stops burning. When should we not use water to extinguish fire? When electrical equipment or any petrol, oil, if they catches fire, we should not use water to extinguish fire. Why? Because when an electrical equipment is on fire, if we pour water, water may conduct electricity, and thus it gives a shock to the people. They get people, those who are dousing the fire may get electric shock. And also water should not be used when oil or petrol catches fire, because water is heavier than oil or petrol. Thus water sinks down, or you can tell oil or petrol, they float on water, isn't it? That is why they keep contact with the enough oxygen supply, and thus it continue burning. So we should not use water to extinguish fire when oil or petrol catches fire. Next, we have learnt about what should we do when an electrical equipment or inflammable materials like oil, petrol catch fire. First, what we have to use? Carbon dioxide, isn't it? Carbon dioxide is the best fire extinguisher to control fire when electrical equipment or inflammable materials catch fire. Why? Because carbon dioxide is heavier than oxygen, and hence it covers the burning materials like a blanket and cuts off oxygen supply. And also it does not spoil or harm the electrical equipment. And how do we get this carbon dioxide? Carbon dioxide can be stored in the form of as a liquid in cylinders at high pressure. When it is released, it immediately expands, and thus when it is sprayed on the burning substances or burning equipments, it cools down and envelops the fire. That brings down the temperature of the fuel. And also we pour dry chemicals like sodium bicarbonate, nothing but baking soda, and potassium carbonate on the fire, because they release carbon dioxide near a fire. This way we can control fire when electrical equipment or inflammable materials catch fire. Then we have learnt about 3 types of combustion. That is rapid combustion, combustion in which a gas burns quickly, producing heat and light in the process, is called rapid combustion. All inflammable material undergo rapid combustion. Example, liquefied petroleum gas, petrol, kerosene, etc. Then spontaneous combustion, combustion in which material burns into flames suddenly without applying a heat. Without applying heat only, it catches fire. Example, phosphorus, which burns at room temperature. And spontaneous combustion of coal dust, as well as heat from the sun or lighting, may also cause spontaneous forest fire. Spontaneous combustion, which combustible material burns into flames without applying any heat. Then explosion, when material burst suddenly and produce heat, light and sound on the application of heat or pressure, is called explosion. Example, crackers and fireworks, which release large amount of heat, light and sound when it is exploded. So these are 3 types of combustion. Then all the substances, they do not form flame when they burn. The substances which vaporize during burning, they only give flames. Example, kerosene oil, molten wax. When we use kerosene oil lamp, the kerosene oil, or when we use candle, the melted wax, they rise through the wick and are vaporized during burning and form flames. But charcoal, on the other hand, it does not vaporize, so it does not produce flame. And then we have seen about 3 different zones of candle flame. First is outermost zone. Outermost zone of a flame is blue in color, where complete combustion takes place, and it is the hottest part of the flame. Then middle zone where is yellow in color, where partial combustion takes place and it is moderately hot. And then innermost zone where it is black in color, where unburnt wax particles or unburnt carbon particles will be there, and it is the least hot of a flame. And then we have learnt about what is a fuel. Fuels are substances that give us heat, which we use for domestic and industrial purposes. And examples for fuels are wood, kerosene, petrol, etc. Then what should be an ideal fuel or good fuel look like? Ideal fuel or good fuel, it should have proper ignition temperature. It does not produce undesirable or poisonous substances. Thus, it does not lead to pollution and it does not leave behind much ash. It should be cheap, readily available, and it should produce large amount of heat, and it should have high calorific value. It should have moderate consumption, and it is easily controllable, easy to handle and easy to transport, and it should have low moisture content. So these are the characteristics of ideal fuel or good fuel. And then we have learned about types of fuels. Types of fuels mainly divided into three groups. Liquid fuels, fuels which are present in liquid state like petroleum, crude oil, etc. Diesel, kerosene, etc. Then solid fuels, which are fuels or in solid state like firewood, charcoal, coal, then dung cakes, tallow, that is animal fat, straw, that is dry grass, and other agricultural waste, paraffin wax, camphor, etc. These are all present in solid state, so we call them as solid fuels. Then coming to gaseous fuels, fuels which are in gaseous state. Most commonly used gas is LPG, that is liquefied petroleum gas, which we use as cooking gas at home. And other than this, if you see gaseous fuel, we can have biogas, natural gas, methane, etc. These are all different types of gaseous fuel we commonly use. Then we have learned about what is calorific value. That is amount of heat energy produced on complete combustion of 1 kg of a fuel is called its calorific value. So 1 kilogram of a fuel, when it is completely burnt, the amount of heat energy produced, what we call that as calorific value. And calorific value is expressed in a unit called kilojoule per kg. And then we have learnt about what are the harmful effects of burning fuels. First, harmful effect of fuel. As population increase tremendously, the increasing fuel consumption has harmful effects on our environment. Like carbon fuels like wood, coal, petrol, petroleum products, they release unburnt carbon particles. And these fine particles are very dangerous pollutant, and they cause respiratory diseases like asthma. Then second effect is incomplete combustion of fuels. It gives carbon monoxide gas, which is very poisonous, and it is dangerous to burn coal in a closed room because the carbon monoxide gas produced will kill persons, those who are present in that room. Then third effect is combustion of most fuels release carbon dioxide in the environment. Increased quantity or increased concentration of carbon dioxide in the air leads to global warming. Then burning of coal and diesel, they release sulfur dioxide gas. Sulfur dioxide gas is also extremely suffocating and corrosive in nature, and it causes irritation in nose and throat, and which it also causes shortness of breath, wheezing, and feeling of tightness around chest, etc. So these are all the harmful effect of burning of coal and diesel, due to which sulfur dioxide gas is being released. And then petrol, by burning of using petrol engine gives off gaseous oxides of nitrogen. Then this oxides of sulfur and nitrogen, when they dissolve in rainwater, they form acids. This rain, what we call that as acid rain. And this acid rain is very harmful for crops, buildings, and soil. And this acids, when they dissolve in rainwater, and this causes leads to acidification of lake water or stream water, and thus damage all types the forest soils, and also like yeah, our monuments and irreplaceable buildings, statues and sculptures, or which are a part of our national cultural heritage also can get destroyed due to acid rain. And finally, then we have learnt about how to conserve fuels. To conserve fuels, we should collect all materials required while cooking at one place before we switch on the gas. Then we have to check the pressure of our vehicles, tires regularly. Then we have to choose walking or without instead of using cars or motorbikes for short distance, and for long distance we have to use public transport instead of private vehicles. So in this way we can conserve fuel.